All right, free people. It is March the 28th, 2024, and the Office of the Attorney General, which is located right here, is representing the defendants in my civil lawsuit. This shows you just how corrupt this whole system of justice is in America. Okay? The Attorney General's office is employed by the people. The taxpayers pay their salary. The taxpayers employ these individuals and elect this Attorney General. But in this civil lawsuit, they are defending the defendants in my civil lawsuit. You see the conflict of interest? A taxpayer is going against the employees he hired. These individuals violated the Constitution of the United States, and the Attorney General's office, who is supposed to uphold the citizens' rights, is representing them. They didn't go out and get their own attorney. These are the people who are representing them. The taxpayers' employees. A conflict of interest. This is why we have to change our judicial system. There's a thing that calls the poison tree. These individuals commit criminal acts, and guess who goes and represented them? An agency of the people. Okay? These are terrorists who took an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States. And who represents them? Aiding and abetting with them? More terrorists. This government agency is representing these individuals who violated a citizen's rights. But they won't go after these other terrorists. No. They represent them in a court proceeding. And under the codes of the United States, aiding and abetting terrorists who go against the Constitution. And this agency here is now representing these defendants who are terrorists and traitors to the supreme law of this country. And you want to know, it is time we change our judicial system. They want to make out, they say, we're taking care of government agencies. That's fine if they're doing the right things, if they're not breaking the law, if they're not violating people's rights. This Attorney General's office is supposed to be upholding citizens' rights. These individuals violated my rights. As you saw in the recordings, they planned and orchestrated or tried to orchestrate a disorderly conduct for somebody filming on the sidewalk. And then when we went to court, the judge says, "You're a black man, you ain't entitled to no jury trial. We're not giving you no jury trial." Even though the Constitution says every citizen has a right to be judged by their peers, as long as they don't waive it. And I didn't waive it. But then you get another government agency, a terrorist act in the hive of terrorism, to represent them and think they're going to do it with nobody noticing this. We pay for this Attorney General's office to represent agencies, not people who break the law and violate people's rights. And then the first thing they want to write, as I showed you their motions, it comes from this office. Immunity for violating a citizen's rights. Isn't that some shit? All these people are criminals, terrorists, domestic terrorists to the American society now. And we need to put a stop to it. It is time we start voting these people out of office and put people in there that will follow the law, the real law, not this made up law that they make. This is the office of the Attorney General of Maryland, who's representing several of these defendants who violated my rights, said I'm not entitled to a jury trial, even though, and then the state attorney's office, who saw the video. All you had to do is call up the body cam footage of the officers, and they saw the same thing you saw. Free people. 2 police officers engaging in a criminal act, conspiring to orchestrate a crime of disorderly, which means I got to be interfering with someone's movement. My First Amendment right gives me a right to protest, freedom of speech, and freedom to record. And guess who's representing all these people? This office right here. And when you engaged in this and aiding and abetting in this, you're a terrorist to the Constitution of the United States. You're a traitor. And we got to do something about this. These kind of agencies cannot be representing defendants in civil lawsuits. Government agencies should not be allowed to represent individuals in in civil lawsuits. The government cannot get involved in civil matters. So why is this government agency representing these criminals who clearly violated the supreme law of this country? That's just like saying the state attorney's office is going to represent the criminals. You see what I'm saying? We have a problem in America today. The justice system, Lady Justice has become a whore. She's a prostitute. And she goes to the highest bidder. Look at who's the highest bidder in this civil lawsuit. And let's see if our judge is an honest judge. I requested a jury trial. 12 people to hear this case. 12 citizens to see the same recording that you saw and say yay or nay. If they say nay, so be it. But you can't even get into court, just like this last case, where the clerk of the court wrote a dismissal. Who gave the clerk of the court the power to dismiss a civil lawsuit? Only judges can do that. But this is the corruption in America today. And it is up to us citizens to start voting these people out of office because they're criminals. They're not even just criminals. They're domestic terrorists to the supreme law of this country. They feel that they can go behind closed doors and change the supreme law of this country. And if you go to Article 14 of the supreme law, not one word in the supreme law can be changed, can be altered. You can't add, you can't subtract, none of it away. But these new criminals use smoke and mirrors to try to do it and try to manipulate the system. And that's what they're doing with this lawsuit. How in the world that somebody I employ and pay represents defendants? Why aren't they representing me? I don't want them because they're criminals, but I'm just saying, why is it that it's a one-sided coin that this government agency is only representing these corrupt, dirty terrorists who got caught up violating my rights? I didn't violate nobody's rights. I didn't even step onto these people's properties. But yet and still, why isn't the Attorney General's office of Maryland representing me? They're picking and choosing, profiling. And we got to do something about this. It is time we vote these people out of office and put a new Attorney General office in play. It's just like the FBI. It's just like the Department of Justice. They don't have the people's best interests in heart. They pick and choose who they're going to represent. They pick and choose who they're going to go after. Okay? All you people saw the body cam footage of these officers planning a disorderly of a person who is engaged in their First Amendment right. a right that is guaranteed to me. I didn't come onto their property. The funny thing about it is this. You heard them talking about all these threats I made. I didn't make not one threat. If I would have made threats, why didn't you charge me with threatening people? Because no threat was made. This all stems from one of their employees throwing an object at me. And because of management wouldn't do their job, they called these security guards who you saw on their own cameras trying to orchestrate a disorderly conduct. And when they couldn't get that, they were about to drive away and go and fabricate more lies, which they did do. And I have the documents of them lying to get a protected order. And they were driving away. And when I call this Russian piece of shit who works for Tacoma Park a bitch, which he is, he jumped out the car and then he arrested me for disorderly conduct on the sidewalk. And this ain't the first time he's done it. He's got another lawsuit coming. The one in Langley Park in Prince George's County. I'm going to sue his monkey ass again. Make no mistake about that. Tacoma Park, Montgomery County, you're all going to be back in here again. We're going to start getting all you dirty people. If the judge dismisses this, so be it. Then he goes on the roster of being a corrupt terrorist in a judicial system. I sent the recordings to them to let them see this whole interaction. But this is what I'm saying. The office of the Attorney General, an employee of the people, is representing terrorists in the state of Maryland. They saw the video. I sent a copy to them. So let's see what happens. These are criminals running our judicial system, and it is time we vote them out of office, get them out of office, put them on blast so people in this world can see who they are, so they can't be reelected into any office again. You know, the funny thing about this is I've been back down to Enterprise. Not one of these individuals who's on this lawsuit is working down at Enterprise. They moved them. But the thing is now we got a government that has turned coat. Isn't this what England did? Isn't this why the people left England to find a new country? The same bullshit that these people are doing now. Look at this symbol that they use. This is America. This ain't England. The same bullshit. Why are we following shit from England in our judicial system instead of America? Nothing's changed. Only thing's changed, these are now criminals and terrorists to the supreme law of this country, which is the Constitution. And it clearly states that in Title 18 U.S. codes. Anybody that goes against the Constitution of this country is a traitor and a terrorist. Hey, the First Amendment gave me a right to do all this. 6, give me a right to a jury trial. And they all went against it. So therefore, they're terrorists. Anybody that aids and abets them and goes along with them, they are also traitors and terrorists. Look at this. This office right here in Maryland is a traitor and a terrorist to the society of America. Y'all stay tuned. More to come. Oh, and I know a lot of people asking me when I'm going to put up another video, a recording. Oh, we got a couple. Make no mistake about that. We've been sneaking around doing undercover work, watching officers hide out, and doing criminal activity. But we're going to be back out there soon. So y'all stay tuned. I just wanted to bring y'all this update to let you know I'm still here. I'm still around. You know, it's a sad day, you know, that I was in D.C. the other day and a young man lost his life over there off of Riggs Road over by the Walmart. I don't know if y'all saw it on the news in broad daylight. You got couple more shootings in Prince George's County. I'm telling you, free people, it is time we start electing people into office who is going to work for us and who's going to follow the supreme law of this country and stop making up and conspiring with these new domestic terrorists. Again, I'm bringing you this because how in the world can a government agency who the people pay for represent individuals who violate people's constitutional right? You saw the video. You saw the recording. You saw these two Tacoma Park officers planning a criminal act with Enterprise employees. These people here, this Attorney General's office, is representing a commissioner who says on a disorderly conduct, I'm a dangerous to society because of my history. Not because of a disorderly, not because I don't have 0 FTAs. I don't miss court dates. But I'm a danger. And that's what the commissioner job is, to make sure I appear to my next court proceeding. And it took an honest judge when Monday come to release me. And again, I tell you people, that's when you go to these jails, that's why in Maryland, because they made a mistake and let a dude out, a man out who went to this young lady's job and set her on fire years ago. And now to cover their asses, this is what they do. They profile people when you come to that county jail with these commissioners who have no authority whatsoever. They profile people in there. The gentleman before me had 10 FTAs and they let him out. Gun charges, assault charges, theft charges, they let them all out. But when I came up in there, because I record the government agencies and criminals and terrorists in America, I'm a danger to society, y'all. This is what goes on. This is the foolishness of some of the, if you read some of these dumb comments before I delete them off my platform, this is the kind of people they are. And every time they do it, I'm going to sue the shit out of them. And I don't care about the $410 or whatever. I'm going to put it in there and you're going to have a black ball on your record that you were sued for being a terrorist and a traitor to the Constitution of the United States. Same thing with the judges. Every time you don't give me what the Constitution says, you're going to get blackballed with a lawsuit. And I don't care if you dismiss it or what you do. This is what this is. And this is what every free citizen, until we start finding out who they are and voting them out of office. Because I'm telling you, free people, for these judges, they have to be elected into the judgeship. And it's up to you people to do a real check on these people you are elected into office. These are the same criminals. Some years ago, a judge in the District Court of Silver Spring named Kim, after a woman didn't want to have nothing else to do with him, he runs up and down 270, brandishing a firearm at her while they're driving down 270. This is something they wash up under the rug. Criminals, terrorists. And you know who represents them? Right here, y'all. Who lets this shit go on? Right here, y'all. And now we got to do is start cleaning up the top. So these people can see we're not taking this no more. So y'all stand by. I ain't going nowhere. I'm just doing some undercover work right now. You know, showing people hiding out. I got police hiding out behind buildings. I got police parking their cars in parking lots, going up in hotels and spending hours in hotels until they get a 911 call. And then they running down going to the 911 call, y'all. So evidently they up there doing booty calls or doing some in these hotels or apartment complexes with their girlfriends or their boyfriends. I don't know what they're doing. But they ain't out there patrolling the streets like they supposed to. But these are the kind of office that represents these kind of people. They pick and choose immunity. Let me tell y'all police officers something. And government agencies something. Why is it that these people pick and choose who they're going to give over immunity to? I thought immunity, all y'all had immunity. So why is it that only certain people get to get away with immunity? And I'm going to go back to the George Floyd incident. Isn't he a public official? He committed the crime. Don't get me wrong. He got what he deserved. But why didn't they give him immunity? Or the police officers that are shooting people and killing people, why aren't they getting immunity? Officers that have got life sentences, why haven't they got immunity? But you get these dirty judges who are public officials and certain people immunity. Immunity should go across the board. This shows you how corruption works. They pick and choose who they're going to give that to. And that's why we got to do away with this qualified immunity. Everybody should be held accountable for their action. And these judges and this commissioner violated my constitutional rights. And they should be held accountable without the help of another terrorist agency to represent them. How can the government represent in a civil matter where these people went outside of their judicial boundaries? If these individuals would have gave me my constitutional rights and did it by the supreme law, then I could say that they have judicial immunity. But they didn't. They didn't. Under color of law, they didn't. So let's see what happens. And then for this agency to come in here and write these criminals, these terrorists, have immunity. Ain't that some shit? If that's the case, then every individual who holds an office or works for the government should have immunity. And that's what I'm saying. The officer that killed George Floyd, he should have immunity. The officers that murdered people should have immunity. But you individuals in them uniforms, that's something y'all need to think about. Why is it that these people get immunity and you don't? You know better. But because that's how terrorism works, that's how corruption works. They pick and choose who's going to the slaughterhouse, who's going to be the sacrificed lamb. So that's why you all should start voting to get rid of this immunity. Everybody should be held accountable for their own action. And this agency right here should be held accountable too, because they're representing terrorists, domestic terrorists. And I'm going to put it up there. I think I already put it up there, but it's a U.S. Code 18. Anybody that wages war on the supreme law of this country, and that's what they did when you tell me I'm not entitled to a jury trial. You just wage war on the supreme law, what the supreme law says. I am guaranteed that unless I waive it, which I didn't do, you just wage war on the supreme law of this country. And therefore you're a terrorist, a traitor. And then you get this agency who's aiding and abetting with these terrorists and traitors. So therefore they're terrorists and traitors too. Common sense. So let's see if this judge, we've already sent it, the response to their dismissal, not serving, immunity. We've already sent that in a recording on a stick to the judge, clerk of the court. Let's see what happens. Stay tuned, y'all. More to come.